I'm Ashley from Through the Loop Yarncraft, and today I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on my new square pattern, the Kindred Square. This square is being featured in Sunflower Cottage Crochet's Friendship Blanket Crochet Along. This square looks a lot more complicated than it actually is, and I just love this stitch. It looks a lot like Tunisian crochet, but it's just regular crochet. All you'll need is your 5mm hook and some medium 4 worsted weight yarn. I'm using Bernat Super Value in Lavender. So let's get started. What I've got here are the 3 base rows of the square. I started with a chain of 27 and 2 rows of single crochet for a total of 26 single crochet in each row. Now this row 3 is where it starts to get a bit trickier. So we're going to do the single crochet spike stitch for row 3. So at first we're going to do a single crochet in the first stitch, and we're starting in the same stitch as the chain 1. Now here's where we do the spike stitch. Now we're going to go down 2 rows below, so not right down into our very first chain. So we're going to skip this chain and work down into this chain. And you're going to pull up your yarn so it's even with the top of the loop, yarn over and pull through. Now the next, we're going to single crochet in the next stitch. So we want to skip this one behind our spike stitch and go into the next stitch, which is right here. And then we're going to spike stitch again. So we're going to skip the chain underneath our single crochet and move into the next one. Again, we're going to pull our yarn up and make it even. That way it doesn't curl or pull. And pull the loop through. And again, moving along, we'll single crochet into the next stitch and spike stitch into the next chain 2 rows below. Pulling it up. You can wiggle it there a bit if you need to. And we're just going to continue that all the way across. The last stitch is going to be the spike stitch down into the last chain space that you did. This one can be a little bit tricky to get into. And pull that up. Now it is going to feel weird because you're kind of skipping that last stitch, it'll feel like. So what I did was I just pulled this through like so. Now look how pretty that looks. So we're going to now chain 1 and move on to row 4. Now for row 4, when I kind of had a little trick here. So when we pulled up the spike stitch, we kind of missed picking up the last stitch from the previous row. So I'm going to pick that up now. You can just go under the loops there. I felt like this made it a little bit more secure, so I just put it under the loops from row 2. And then single crochet in that first stitch. So now we're going to do the single crochet join stitches. Now this is going to replace a stitch that you would normally put in right here, and we're going to kind of just go around it. So we have this bar here and this bar here, and we're going to go through both of them. So put it through there, and then we're going to yarn over and pull up, and then pull up a little just like we did, and single crochet. Now the next stitch is a regular single crochet, and we're just going to go under those 2 loops there, and another join stitch. So now we'll be using this bar here and this bar here, straight under both of those, and pull it up And again, you can see it kind of joins the opposite bars together. A single crochet and join the bars. So we'll just finish that all the way across. Okay, so for the last 2 stitches, we're going to be single crochet. And then we're actually going to use this little bar here. This one's a little harder to see. So we're going to go under that one and then just under that one bar right at the end there. And pull through. There we go. And that's how it looks after row 4. And you can kind of see the shape coming together. So row 5, chain 1 and turn. For row 5, we're setting up again for the join stitches by doing our rows of the spike stitches. We're going to start this time with a spike stitch and not the single crochet because we want them to be kind of not on the same spot. So we're not going down to the chain again though, but you can kind of see this little hole there where we're going to go. So we're just going to spike stitch in there and pulling up, and then we'll single crochet in the next. And for the next spike stitch, it's gonna go right in this little circle. It almost looks like a little circle right next to the last spike stitch. And to make sure that you're in the right spot, if you turn it over, you can see your hook will be kind of going right at the apex of those 2 V's. So all along, you'll be going through each of those. So if you're ever unsure if your hook's in the right spot, just look for that little spot. Put it in there. And then, now it kind of does bend a little, so right in there. There's the little circle. And then just continue that all the way across. So the last spike stitch of this row will go in this last little circle there. And the very last stitch will be a single crochet. For row 6, we're actually going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. And now we will start our join stitches with this bar here and this bar here. And then single crochet in the next stitch and join stitch with this bar here and this bar here. And now you can really start to see that honeycomb pattern come together. So we will just continue that all the way across. And for this row, the last 2 stitches, we will use that bar here. And this one is a very little V there. So we'll just get under there and single crochet in the last stitch. And now you can really see that honeycomb shape coming together. And we will move on to row 7. Now this is the last row of our repeat sequence. We're just going to continue to repeat rows 4 through 7 until your square or dishcloth is as large as you'd like it. So for this row, we're going to single crochet in the first stitch, and we're going to spike in the next stitch. Now, as you can see again, here is that little circle area that's right where we're going to spike stitch into. So we're moving back to almost on top of that one. And that way they become kind of staggered. And single crochet in the next. And there's our little circle. And we'll check over here and see how we're going right into the apex of that again. And bring that up. And we're just going to continue that all the way across. Okay, for the last 2 stitches, we just single crochet. And again, this is where we're going to kind of skip over where you'd really want to put the stitch in. So we're just going to go into this little spot here, pull up your loop. Now, as I was saying on the last row, like this one, this is where I'm going to insert my hook for the first stitch of the next row. So chain 1, and then for the row 8, I'm going to go right back in there, so it kind of holds up and it keeps the sides much more even, I found. There we go. Just continue to repeat row 4 to 7 until your desired length. For this square, I did 42 rows, and then I put a single crochet border along the outside. Now you could do any border you'd like. I just kind of stuck with that one. And these will make great blanket squares. It's a little bit thicker, but it would also make a fabulous pot holder, I think, made out of cotton yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn how to crochet the Kindred Square. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give it a click on the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to follow along with more of the blanket square patterns and Sunflower Cottage Crochet Along, hop on over to their Facebook page and check that out. And if you want the written pattern for this, there's a link below. I have a free version on my blog, or you can purchase the ad-free PDF as well. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.